we go. This is Ranger Kidwell Ross, the editor at worldsweeper.com. And today I am very pleased to provide the sweeping industry with an update on a wonderful program that is generated by a gentleman named Jim Blackerby. And he has a product called Sweep Inspect that he has developed back in about mid-2019. And now, a little over 2 years later, you will be amazed at the improvements that have happened to this program. Jim is a seasoned sweeping contractor, second generation, based in Kentucky. And the idea of Sweep Inspect to start with was to have a way for management to easily provide oversight to their to employees and the job that they've done. Since then, there have been just a lot of innovations, including integration with a variety of programs that are out there that you probably deal with if you are a parking lot sweeping company. So with that, I'm going to stop the screen share and I'll share the screen with Jim Blackerby instead. And so Jim, welcome back. And by the way, everyone, the innovation, we felt that the innovation of Sweep Inspect was so powerful that we made Jim and his company and Sweep Inspect our Award of Excellence in Power Sweeping winner last year. And that has been further validated by the fact that now he's worked to get his software integrated with the Service Channel as an example. And he's going to tell you all the rest of it. So take it away, Jim.
Yeah. So first off, I still can't believe that either I was lucky enough to get that award or you were stupid enough, one of the two, but I can't tell you how happy that made me. So thank you for that again. And like I said before, you were one of the first to see this when I first made it. So I'm excited to show you what we've added. Basically everything that we've added since you've seen it last came from suggestions from other sweeping companies. So we have a board online that anyone using the system can log on. They can put their ideas, and then everybody else using it kind of says, yeah, I want this, or I want that, or this will work for me, but not that, and that kind of thing. So I like to think that it's not just one guy upon high, adding stuff willy-nilly. It's designed to be stuff that everybody will use and find beneficial, and everything like that. So
all the manufacturers would do that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'm excited to show you what we've got, and hopefully, if anybody's watching that's not signed up, they got any ideas they'd like to see or think would be beneficial, then yeah, hopefully I hear from them as well. So
all right,
I'll show you the screen here. So this kind of cracks me up because this is kind of the epitome of what I was saying before, of even the most minute details we try to incorporate. So one of the people using it said, Jim, my guys are having to stare at a white screen all night. They're complaining about their eyes hurting, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing we did was made a light mode and a dark mode. So if you want to have don't want to stare at a white screen while you're driving a sweeper at night, you can change it and all that kind of stuff. So it's something small, but it goes to the point of, no idea is unimportant. And if it's good for them, it's good for us. And that's something I wouldn't have thought of had someone not suggested it. So we've got, since the last time you saw it, we had quality inspections, and that was it. And now we've added site inspections as well. So this is for if you go into a property that you sweep on an off night and see a problem, or a place that you don't even sweep and you just want to get your foot in the door by pointing out stuff that the other sweeping company might not have pointed out. You can do that. So for an example here, we've got this property which I don't sweep, and believe it or not, this has kind of evolved my whole marketing strategy of, you always have to have that reason to call without making it seem like you're being pushy. So I'll go in, do an inspection, point this kind of stuff out, send it, and then, oh, by the way, I'd really like to give you a quote for the sweeping as well. Let's do a better one. Here we go. So this is one I did today. I took the pictures. You can see the stuff that's outside of sweeping, mattresses dumps. We got some concrete trash cans that are randomly overflowing and all that kind of thing. But like I said, my guys go in and do lights out, potholes, all kinds of different things. And then same process as the inspection. You can pull up this branded page, the colors, the logos, all that stuff is customizable. Any notes you left, the pictures you took, all that stuff pops up here. And you can send that, you can copy and paste the link, you can text it to people, you can email it, whatever you want to do. And then
the numbers that are down there are what it would cost to remove.
Right. So that all that is customizable as well. So when you do the inspection, you can enter in the price that it would take to fix that issue. So I've got it. It's going to take $200 to haul these mattresses off. And then they can go through with the picture, click the box on what they want done. And then at the bottom, it has the estimated. And for each picture they select, the total changes. That way the pricing's up front, it's clear, and it cuts back on that second email. So you don't want to have to send a picture of the email, they email you back, you tell them the price, so on and so forth. Everything gets knocked out in one fell swoop.
They have access to that file, clearly.
Right, yeah. So they have that link, it's stored in perpetuity, so they can go back and look at it at any time. And then the other cool thing is that once they select the pictures of the problems that they want you to take care of, all they have to do is hit approve, and then it'll send you a text message and an email to your phone notifying that they responded, they wanted you to take care of that. That way there's no downtime between you finding out they wanted you to do something and not. So that's kind of this.
That's a third-party vendor. You're working with you're at the mall, you've done that, then you can send it directly to the third-party vendor that's handling that account.
Right. Yeah. So the cool thing is that it's all website and this link based. So all you have to do is copy and paste the link, and you can send it to 1 or 500 people if you wanted to.
Okay.
And there's no, typing out emails. There's no back and forth. It's just they click the link, they select the pictures they want done and the price, and hit approve, and you're good to go. And then this is where, like I said, you can change the pricing, and then once it's updated, and you can change the pricing after the fact too if you wanted to. So if they wanted you to do an extra thing, or they wanted a pothole and you were pricing it to do a permanent fix, but they just wanted temporary, you can go back and change the pricing and all that kind of stuff. So that is one cool thing about it, is just cutting back on that downtime, and it looks more professional having those pictures with the prices and stuff on there from the get-go.
Very much more.
Yeah, for sure. And then from there, once they've selected the pictures that they want you to take care of, we've got this new service request page here. And it's like an organization tool to help you keep track of what work needs to get done. So for these, for example, the pictures are ginormous that came with the update. So just bear with me on that. But it's got the picture, it's got what the price was. So if you send them 50 pictures and they only want 3, it only shows the ones that they selected and the price that goes with it. And then you can change this request to different statuses. So, if someone's actively working on it, you can change the status. If it's been complete, you just need to bill them, you can change it. And it's all color coded as well. So you can see the pending and new is one color, the needs billed is the other, you're awaiting payment. So it's more of an organization tool. That way nothing's falling through the cracks.
Yeah, and that saves you time, because they're not going to call you and say, hey, when are you going to be on that or something like that. They could just check to your portal and see whether it's in process now and so forth.
Yeah, and this has been extremely embarrassing but this is why I made it, is, it's these sweeping companies, managers, owners have so much to worry about, and I can speak from experience. I would do something on the 1st of the month, and then I would do the invoices on the 15th or the 20th, and I would completely forget the work that I did on the 1st because the time's gone by. Mm-hmm. So when I do my invoices, I go through here, I can see easily what needs to be billed, what work's still outstanding, and all that kind of stuff. That way nothing falls through the cracks, and I'm getting paid for the work that we actually did. So it's a pretty cool organization tool for you.
All right, I agree.
Yep. And then we've added some routing stuff. So I don't think this was there when you saw it last.
I've already heard some very good things about the routing part sweep and
Yeah.
sweep.
Yeah. So I tried to make this as simple for the drivers to use, and obviously sweeping specific. So these are routes that have already been done and they save, obviously. So I've got 200 pages. So you don't have to worry about stuff getting cut off or anything like that. But you can view a route. This is what the driver sees. So they're able to, well, they won't see this financial stuff, obviously, but they'll be able to see, what truck they're in, what the name of the route is, what parts of town that their routes are in, and then they can see the name of the property, what needs to get done, sweeping related that needs to get done at that property. And then they can, if it's a new guy, he hasn't swept this place before, he can hit the view property and the outline will pop up. And then on the flip side, if he doesn't flat out know how to get there, he can hit the directions and the Google Maps will pop up with the directions on how to get there. And then this route has already been done, obviously, but there is a begin stop when they get there and an end stop when they're done. And it's got a geofence parameter, so they can't check in unless they're there. But then once they get done sweeping, the system logs that time on how long they were on site, the time that they were there, the time they left, and all that kind of thing.
So because you're in this as a manager, you're seeing the price per sweep and the
right. Yeah, that's something that's part of the customizable stuff. So the drivers won't see that. That's because I'm set up obviously as the admin. I can see everything. Mm-hmm. But again, that's designed to give you or an owner a snapshot too. So you can see the price per sweep. You can see how much you're paying that specific driver an hour, and then it calculates how long they were on site and calculates how long you actually paid in labor to sweep that property, and then tells you what the profit on that was. We've got this for individual stops, and then we've got it for routes as a whole. So that way the owners can see, what route is making money, what route needs the prices raised a little bit, so on and so forth. Just kind of make you have a little bit more informed decisions going forward.
So how do you calculate the routing? How do you know what's first, what's second, what's third?
Yeah, so you can do two things. You can make an individual route that's only good for one night, and then you have to remake it all over again. And you just select the properties from a drop down, and then you go in and manually enter the time on site, what specifically needs to get done at that property, and any notes. Or you can make a template that all you have to do is click the button and everything pre-populates with all that information filled out already. So the driver, the truck, and obviously you can change it around. So if guy calls in, you need to change the route, you can change the employees, you can change the order of a stop, all that kind of stuff. But you don't have to go through individually and manually enter that, every single route, every single night. So it saves you a little time. And then to give you an example of the check-in and out times. So when they get there, they hit begin stop. It's like I said, you have to be within a mile. It's going to give me a box here saying I'm not within a mile. The timer starts, and then when they get done, they hit end stop, and the system logs how long they were there, the time that they checked in, checked out, so forth. Mm-hmm. So it's a cool little snapshot to see, how long places are taken, how much money you made per stop, and all that.
In terms of getting going with the system, are you able to batch enter your customers or anything like that?
Right. Yeah. So that's what we're working on now. So you can batch enter the properties, and that's the main thing. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're actively working on now, is importing those routes from Excel, Google Docs, whatever. That way you're not having to do it individually. You can do it, a mass upload, sure. Make it go a little quicker. And then your driver can see this view stop detail there. They can see how long you have on site budgeted. And then if you go into a Walmart that, needs a manager signature each time, they can sign the signature pad. They can either sign it for the driver or the customer. And then once you save that, you are able to send those off in an email link as well. So obviously we don't have any pictures, but we've got the signatures captured. So this has worked out well for me for
fabulous.
Yeah, right. So this has worked out well for me for construction sweeping, where you need to get that, that superintendent sign off saying that everything looks good and all that. And then this part right here is customizable as well. So you can change the message to whatever you want. Or you can make it specific to a customer, property, whatever you want it to be. And then from there, all you got to do is again, copy and paste and text or email that link, whatever it might be. And that's all something the driver can do on their own without having to use the owner or manager or anything like that. So
when he finishes that stop, he can sign that he's done a good job and click send, and it's going to end up at the customer?
Yep. Well, he signs it, he saves it, and then it sends the owner, the manager, whoever you dictate an email saying, hey, we've got this signature. Then whoever you designate sends it off. Just because that's I would consider that like a kind of security thing. I don't want my drivers to be able to send out messages willy-nilly like.
Right.
So they can do the signature, they can leave the notes, they can take pictures, but at the end of the day, the owner, the manager, whoever you dedicate, sends it off themselves. So, and then the other thing with routing we've got that's really cool is, and I just ran into this the other day, believe it or not. Say, 30 days goes by and you sweep a place once a month, a warehouse, whatever it might be. The customer wants to know when you swept that property last. So with this, you can filter, find a specific property, for instance. So let's do one that I know. Let's do this one. So you can filter it that way. And all of the times that stop has been on a route shows here, along with the date and time, when it started, how long they were on site, all that kind of stuff. So like I said, I had a warehouse that wanted to know, I sweep it once a quarter, once a month, something like that. They wanted to know when the last time I swept it was. I could go back and say, all right, it was swept on October 14th. We were there from 125 or 115 to 125, whatever it might be. And then if I have a signature, I can verify it that way. So it's just an easier way to find or keep track of what places you've been sweeping and when. Yeah. Then the other cool update that's kind of an organization tool as well is this mini scheduler. So we did a lot of work to this page. So this is the properties page where all of the places that you sweep pop up. And you saw this last time. It had the property outline, the city, state, and address, but we've added the schedule here. So, if a guy calls you in the middle of the day and you're away from a computer, you don't know what days it gets swept, you can just pull it up online and see what days you're supposed to be there. Same thing with the portering, and then any notes that you left. And then we've got this cool file uploader that's specific to individual properties, or employees, drivers, whatever it might be. So if you needed to pull up the contract for Dixie Valley, and you're not at your computer, you can pull it up that way using this file uploader. And I'll give you an example here. So this is, sorry, bear with me here. We'll do a driver. All right, so I just had a safety meeting kind of thing the other day. So this is for this driver, Alan Breland, and anything that pertains to him is in this file uploader. So if I'm not at my computer, I can click that file. It will upload here eventually, if it will, and anything he signed, anything that pertained to that specific employee shows up here. So again, it's like a mini computer on wheels. So you don't have to be tied to your computer to be able to see that stuff. Then we've added a time clock as well, and this has the same parameter. So you have to be within 1 mile to clock in, and then the other cool thing is that once you clock in, the system will text you a one-time code straight to your phone. So it just sent me one. You enter the employee enters the code, hits confirm. If they're within that mile, they're good to go. So it tells them they're clocked in. It tells them they're going to end the shift when they're done at the end of the day. And then you've seen this. They can start their lunch, end their lunch, all that stuff. And then the other thing that's really, really helped me out is I had too many drivers wanting to know how many hours they had worked in a given amount of time. So all of the drivers can click on their individual page, and it'll show them how many hours they've worked in the week, the pay period, the month. And then they can they can look at all of their individual shifts. So like on the 29th here, you can see he was in truck 10. He clocked in at 10, ended at 6:55. This is when he took his lunch, how long it was for, how long his shift was. And if there's still some question, you can see when the lunch started, when it ended, where he clocked in, where he clocked out, all that stuff. So they're able to do that completely on their own. So there is no, I'm not having to find this information, send it to them. They can do it on their own. So, right.
And they're going to believe it when it's on the screen more than they are when you tell them.
Yeah, exactly. And you know how most of these employees, mine anyway, they don't even keep track of their hours in general. So it's nice for them to be able to clock, it's one thing to see on their pay stub that they worked, 37 hours one week. It's different to be able to see, all right, I worked 37 hours and this is how the math adds up per shift that I worked. So it builds a little bit more trust between, the employee and the employer, having that spelled out in black and white and all that. And then on the other thing, if you want to see how many hours they work within a given time range, you can do that as well. So if you wanted to see, Q1 of 2021, how many hours did this guy work, select the dates and it'll pop up there. So it's cool that way as well.
Absolutely.
Then I'm not sure if this was on there, but just in case. So this is all routing runs off the routes as well. So it's got the name of the route and the driver, and then on the employee's page, you can dictate how much they get paid an hour, or you pay your guys by the night. And then the price per sweep on the properties page ties in here too. So it basically adds up all of the properties on that route, how much that you get paid per sweep, and then calculates the hourly wage that you're paying a guy, and takes the routing, the budget you have time on site, adds all that up and gives you the employee expense, so how much you paid in labor, estimate before you even make the route, and then how much it turned out to be once the route's completed. So that's just another way to get a little snapshot of what route's profitable, what route needs some places added to it.
That is so important. That will more than pay for your monthly right there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Most contractors have such a difficult time in keeping track of what routes are profitable and so forth. And the conventional wisdom by some of the experienced contractors has been every year go fire the bottom 10% of your customers.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember when I first wrote something along those lines, and had a very seasoned contractor call me up and said, "How do I know? I don't know what's the bottom 10%."
Right. Yeah.
10%. Now you know.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is that everybody everybody has their own system. For me anyway, it was, I had a general idea in my head, but once I committed it to this, what I had in my head and what it actually was, a lot of the times didn't even align.
Right.
So, maybe I have a route with 10 places and it's making a little bit money, but it needs to make more. Then that's when I know, all right, I'm going to add a couple places to this route to make it a little bit more profitable, so on and so forth. So like I said, right now we've only got the employee expense. The other big expense obviously is gas and fuel. So that's another thing we're working on now, where you'll be able to enter it on these vehicles page, enter in the average mile per gallon for each one of your trucks. The system for the route knows how long you're driving and the amount of miles and all that kind of stuff, and it'll do the math on that to tell you how much you're spending in gas per mileage and all that kind of stuff. So you'll have labor and gas, and then you'll have the actual route revenue, just to kind of give you a more honed in outlook on what's making money, what's losing money, and so forth.
Excellent.
Then we've got, going through my list here, it's hard to keep track of.
It's a lot more elegant than your system was last time we checked in with you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that as it goes on, I'm hoping it's going to get better and better. I mean, just the look overall, it looks more refined. You know what I mean? It's not bare bones and all that. So then the next thing we've added is this contacts page. It's more of a basic CRM kind of thing. So like I said, the goal with this system is to take all of these different softwares and combine them into one. And if you're paying $50 for a CRM and $50 for a routing, the goal is to combine them into one. It'll be cheaper in the long run using one thing instead of 5 different ones.
It's so much easier to just learn how to use one software.
Yeah, exactly.
Updating, you have to update all that stuff and keep track of it on your computers and so forth. Yeah, a much better idea.
Yeah, for sure. So again, this is kind of the same aspect. You can have statuses, so you can have current customers, past ones, and then leads. And then from there, it's just basically an organization tool, like a basic CRM. So it'll have their status, the name of the company, email address, phone numbers, the main contacts, all that stuff. And then from there, it will have, all of the properties that you put into this page, you assign a customer. So it's integrated that way. So for each customer, it'll have the properties. It'll tell you what your billing is a month, the places that that they manage, and whether they're leads, whether they're current places you sweep, so on and so forth. That way, it's kind of a mini accounting tool, if you will. That way you can see who's paying what at the end of the month and all that. So that's another cool thing that's helped me out. And then the one I am most excited about is this jobs board, which if anybody is sweeping for a third party, I know Divisions has a jobs board. It's kind of the same prospect or same aspect to it. But I cannot tell you how much more money my employees have been getting paid, and just how much happier they seem to be with their paycheck at the end of the day. So this board is designed for anything that is extra, that it might be outside the scope of the work of sweeping. It might be open shifts, whatever. It might be something the customer tells you they want you to take care of, whatever it is. You're able to go in and, well, that doesn't have a picture. Let me show you a good one here. This one. You can go in, leave the title, leave the description of what exactly needs to get done, set the price that the owner or the manager is going to pay an employee to do it, where the property's at, when it needs to start and end at, and then how many bids there are, and then the pictures of the issues, obviously.
When you say how many bids there are, what does that mean? Yeah, we all have distractions.
Well, I'm working from home today, so it's like 10 times worse than me. So the bids thing, it's kind of, and I tell my guys, it's not a bid based on price. So I'm not having my guys, compete against each other. It's strictly time wise. So when they submit their bid, Billy Bob says he can do it on the 1st at noon, and Jimmy Joe says he can do it on the 2nd at 4 o'clock. I'm going with whoever can get it done the quickest is what I consider a bid. So it pops up on this dashboard here when it says the jobs that are available. They can see the title, how much it pays, all that kind of stuff. And then it has, they can bid, they have an option to select the calendar pop up, tell them, yeah, I can get it done by October 1st at noon. It's a bid, the next guy, so on and so forth. And then I just go in and assign a user. So for this job, I gave it to David Orr. He knows it's been assigned to him. He has to take care of it. But I got a bid from this guy as well, but he couldn't get it done as quick. So I gave it to the guy that could do it the quickest. So
they get a notice that they've won the bid.
Right. So I've got this tab at the top. It says my jobs. That's individual to an employee. So when they log on, they can see how many jobs they have assigned to them and all that. And then that's where that status comes in. So open, complete. There's another one for assigned, in progress, so on and so forth. But the point is that, taking a trailer to the dump or removing furniture, those one-off jobs pay better than an individual price per sweep. So if I'm able to charge more, I can pay my employees more. So the good thing is that, if I'm willing to pay this guy $100 and I'm getting paid $200 to take care of it, he gets way more than he would, getting paid per hour, and I still make money at the same time. So it's a cool organization thing. It's a cool way for the employees to make extra money, pick up open shifts. And then, believe it or not, I was doing everything on this board. I was doing myself during the day. So it's cool to not have to worry about that. It saved me some time delegating. So it's a win-win for everybody. So
circle back on something that we just kind of glossed over here a minute ago. And that is when you had some noise in the background and you were looking around and saying, hey, I'm working from home today. This is being done from home, guys.
Right. Yeah.
In the middle of the night. It can be done in your office. It can be done on vacation. It can be done any place that you have internet access. So that to me is huge, that you're not bound to software that's on your office computer that might not be on your iPad or whatever.
Right.
You can do this from wherever you want to, and that I think that is a huge plus as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I've got, obviously I've got guys using this at 4 a.m. out in the middle of nowhere, and it's one of those things where I all my trucks have tablets, but if I know obviously there's a bunch of companies that their employees just use their own phone, so it doesn't matter what you have as long as you can get to the internet, you can use it anywhere. So it makes it you don't have to be chained to a computer, basically. Same thing with those contracts and employee pay stubs and all that. It's got that file uploader, so you can do it if you're out in the middle of nowhere. You can do it if you're at home. So it's designed to be easy to use and be able to use it anywhere. So it's free.
Let's say you get a job that comes in, you put it on the jobs board,
Mhm.
and you have tablets. So is the next time that employee can access the fact that there's a job coming up the next time that he gets to the tablet, or can you send that to their phone somehow?
Yeah. So like I said, it's all internet based. So all they have to have is the link, which they have. Everybody has it in my company anyway. They have their own unique username and password. They can log on their phone, my tablet, their computer, and they can see it anytime, whether they're working or they're at home sitting on the couch watching TV. It doesn't really matter. So that's the other cool thing, is that they're not, they don't have to be actively clocked in or working to see this stuff. So
you talked about this being integrated with Service Channel. What does that mean?
Yeah. So that's the other cool thing we're excited about. So I'll show you an example here. Any place that you have that you sweep that requires you to use Service Channel, you can add it to a route, and everything that your guy would have to do on the Service Channel app, he can do on this instead. So like this Menards, it requires me to use Service Channel. So the only thing my guy has to do, and keep in mind, some of these work orders from this drop down, some of these are old. I just haven't cleaned them up yet. But in an ideal world, all your driver has to do is hit the only work order that pops up. He hits check in, and then all of that information gets sent over to Service Channel. So the check-in and out times, the pictures, the work order status, all of that gets sent to Service Channel from this. So you won't have to use two separate apps. You can just use this one, and it'll also update the actual desktop version when you're doing the invoices and assigning work orders and all that kind of stuff. So it's literally one system to do two different things.
That's fabulous. And have you talked to any of the other third-party providers? Do you have prospects of being able to integrate with any of them?
Yep. So we've got FM Pilot on deck. We're working on Field Tech Connect. So that's in my area, Lowe's, and a few other places, mainly for Brightview. So we're working on the FM Pilot. We've got that one and coming down the pipeline, the other one. And then those seem to be the three biggest ones. That's what I'm kind of hoping to see. I know there's Springwise out there that you would talk to, and a couple other ones that use their own unique app. So that's where I'm hoping to hear some comments and get a feel for who uses what the most to kind of dictate what gets added next. So,
good.
But like I said, any time a sweeping company gets a chance to cut out an app, whether it be a third party, whether it's a CRM or routing, and combine everything into one, the better it is for the actual employees who are having to use it in the field. It saves you time from having to explain how to use separate ones. So it's a well-rounded and win-win for everything if it's all in one thing. So,
well, one of the things that there's a lot of wonderful time-saving elements that you've provided here. One of the complaints I hear all the time is about, say, Service Channel or places you have to call in, and then the line's busy, or so forth. Some places you have to have the manager sign, can't find the manager. Oh, he's not here today. Well, who's supposed to sign if he's not here? Geez, I don't know.
right.
Plus, we're talking about the middle of the night, so a lot of times, and so a lot of times that that there's not the right people aren't there, and you have to go back during the day, or somebody has to. You can't be doing that anymore, and make money. So being able to integrate these guys to where they can just sign online is fabulous.
Yeah, and this is the other cool part is that, for me anyway, if the guy's not there to get a sign off, the manager or whoever it is, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, all right, well, we need pictures verifying that you were there. So with the routing, that's something that your employees can do while they're on site. So they're able to do basically the same thing as a site inspection, um, and take pictures and upload them, whatever it might be. I'll just do an example here. So they're out in the field, they can upload that picture themselves. They save it, they get the signature, and it's all in that link. So for instance, that picture is there that you took while you're on site verifying whatever. You want to take a picture of your truck in front of the front door, whatever it might be. Take that picture. You've got the driver's signature saying everything's been done, and you can send that link off as kind of a verification thing rather than having to go back, get the form signed off and all that. So
It's great.
yeah. So
if only this didn't cost $5,000 a month.
Yeah. Well, that's the good thing is that, like I said, I'm when I said the first time I met you, and it's true today, I want people to sign up so I can get ideas, because I would not have had all of this stuff except for inspections. That's why I made it. And then as it got bigger and more people signed up, I added all this other stuff. I've got a dark mode and a light mode, for Christ's sake, which I wouldn't have ever thought. So yeah, that's the main thing is it's price cheap. It's only $150 a month. And then, you know, 25 bucks of that goes to the scholarship fund for the World Sweeping Association, which is great. So that's, you know, at the very least, you get to feel like you gave back to the sweeping community in general. So that's great. And then you get all of this. So for $150, there's no limits on drivers, vehicles, anything. So
it's the best value in the power sweeping industry, as far as I'm concerned. So
right, yeah.
Looking for an endorsement, feel free to say that.
All right.
It's absolutely fabulous, and you have been increasing all of these different features as you go along. Without increasing the price. How you're doing that, I'm not quite sure, but it's volume, of course, in terms of the, and that's, are we done with?
I was gonna show you this board just so you can see how it's basically taken a life of its own on. It's actually pretty cool to see. So these are all of the suggestions I've heard from people using the system. So they log on, they see this wish list. And you can just see all of the stuff that people have suggested. And it's just, that's what blows me away the most is that, you know, it starts off with one simple thing, and as it goes on and on, more great ideas get added that I wouldn't have thought of for myself. So it's been really great.
Well, and that's a visible item to your users as well. And right. And so as a result, they can see how responsive you've been to the input, which is very responsive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
In just a couple of years, I'm just absolutely floored by how many features this has, and how any sweeping contractor out there wouldn't want to be utilizing this.
Right.
If you couldn't make much more than $150 a month, then that means you have 3 stops in 1 truck.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when you think about it, at the end of the day, the way I rationalize it anyway is I was having paper forms for inspections. I was paying for a software for the CRM. There was another software for the routing. So I had a time clock I was paying for. That's just four different things I was using off the top of my head that I was paying money for. Mm-hmm. So, you know, say there a minimum of $35 to $50, just those 4 items alone would add up to be cheaper using this than it would be 4 separate systems. So it's price cheap, and the goal is, I would hope at the end of the day, it saves money just from eliminating those redundant systems. So
absolutely, yeah, and having to learn now. Then let's talk about the labor that it takes to find out who's profitable, who's not,
right.
And I'll pull your. I'll stop the sharing of screen if we're done with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Got it. And so to me, if you add in all the intangibles to that as well, having to look things up and which drawer is it in, or
yeah, exactly,
where is it on, or how do I show that our people were there that night?
Mm-hmm.
How do I know who the profitable ones are and who are not? You're going to make more than $150 a month by far. You should make it many hundreds by learning who is really profitable and
Right. Yeah.
who is not. And when you add to that your knowledge of what your overall cost structure is in terms of your fixed and variable costs and what that costs you an hour to run a truck other than your operators,
Right. Yeah.
you just can't go wrong.
Yeah. And then you look at it from an environmental standpoint. I have a sweeping company. I clean trash. I don't make trash. So you think about all of the paper that you don't have to throw away anymore, night after night after night. That seems like, to me, that's worth it. Just from that alone, is just cutting down on the amount of waste without having to have paper and ink and all that stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. Is there anything more we should say about this other than if you're a parking area contractor, especially construction sweeping contractor out there, just use the contact information that we'll tell you here in a minute. Call Jim up, send him an email, and sign up and give it a try. Now, I don't know the answer to this question, and they always say with trial attorneys, especially, never ask a question you don't know the answer to. But I'm pretty confident in it. So what if I'm to say Acme Sweeping just signed up for this, and after using it for a month, they just said, hey, we tried this. This isn't any good for us.
Right.
No problem.
Yeah, so we've got sweeping companies have dash cams, GPS, all of these different software. They all have different tiers. It's confusing. You don't know when a contract started, when it's supposed to end. So I wanted to get rid of all that. So there is no contract. If you use it one day and the next day you decide you don't like it, fine. Call me up and say you don't want to use it, because I'd hate to think anyone is using this that feels locked into paying for something they're not even using. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's no contract. It's a flat rate. There's no tiers. There's no, you get this for this amount of employees, and then it's this much for if you go over that. It's all simple and easy to use and commitment free, I guess is what I'm saying. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Jim. You certainly have re-earned your award of excellence. You have to be careful how much more you add to this, or you'll be winning it again this year.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where I hope that is the case. Just keep chugging along and adding more and more stuff the more I hear from people. So
yeah,
hopefully the next time we meet 2 years from now, I'll have 50,000 other things to show you that we've added.
All right, and still have it be simple to use. So
right, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. Tell people how to reach you. And
Yep. So you can reach out to me. My phone numbers, you can have that listed. We've got a demo site, so you can go to demo.sweepinspect.com if you want to try things out on your own time. And then we've got a website, sweepinspect.com, where you can see some short videos and get a background and all that kind of stuff. So I know some people like to try it on their own time without calling up and finding out questions. So anybody uses it anytime. Anything they put in there expires after 24 hours, so you don't have to worry about stuff being stored and all that. So,
and then all of your email and your phone are at sweepinspect.com, and that's probably
correct.
the way to leave that.
Yep, that works.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And with that, if I can help in any way, anytime, please let me know. I think this is revolutionary in how it has revolutionized the sweeping business.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Like I said, it's one of those things where you might get someone signed up once a month, and then you might have 10 yeses and 9 no's and 1 yes. So it's good to hear just anybody say it looks good and they like what they see and all that kind of stuff. So that's encouraging on its own. And then you even giving me the time to show you the stuff we've added is help enough. So I appreciate that on its own.
Well, you bet. And I've heard from contractors that are using this too, and they're just wildly excited about it. Very effusive in their agreement that it's a great system, and especially the routing when that was added. That's something that we've really needed too. So
yeah, that's good to hear.
All right. Well, there we have it. Jim Blackerby, second generation sweeping contractor, and he has the leading, by far, comprehensive software for handling power sweeping companies, and good for you.
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you, Ranger.